Oh man, what the hell was that? Oh man, that's the actual voice I use when I speak internet. Today we are drawing. Hey there, this is Alcal, by the way. In case you forgot somehow, I mean I can understand the confusion. The art request that I am obliterating in front of your eyes right now as we speak is a little piece I like to call Raichu wearing goggles for some reason. I always like it when it's something that's kind of hilariously precise. Let's go and answer questions asked by people, and like the list is super mega huge. This is probably the biggest list I have had in a while. I'm not sure what to think about that, so today I won't be able to do any of the special requests, like either showcasing, my work. Sort of like a work path for either doing videos or actual like comic art and stuff like that. But I know the future always exists. In the meanwhile, y'all are curious about things, sometimes serious, sometimes a bit less so. It's very subtle. Hi, it's me, Peakbread. If you could create your own game instantly with no effort required, what would it be about? Who would the main character be? Who is the antagonist? Priest Knobloch, by which I mean Peakbread. Well, it kind of exists almost. Well, like, for who it would start all that, like, obviously, it would be, the extended cast of Demo and Company. And that's what I mean by it almost exists in that, like the Super Mario Brothers extended games, like the X series and the ROM hack, are pretty darn gosh close. If we go into pure Imagination Town, it would probably still be starring Demo, but use a Copy Kitty-esque, Kirby-esque still enemy powers gimmick. But the gameplay would be very much like something like Contra Hard Corps or like, Copy Kitty itself, and that'd be more action-like oriented, but with, rather than Copy Kitties, like tiny levels, like more actual levels, stages and whatnot, like with that kind of progression. So it's kind of too bad when you can kind of describe your dream project by comparing to a whole bunch of pre-existing things. But it just so happens that, I'm interested in things that just so happen to match a lot of what the sort of thing I'm interested in. So that sentence barely made sense, but I think you can see what I was going for with that terrible, terrible sentence. How can I, or anyone else for that matter, seduce you? And what does Horikawa smell like? Both questioned by Rizboji, and I'm don't really know how to answer that because no one was able to seduce me before. So it is a mystery to be observed. Same answer for question 2. What am I even drawing here? I got 2 questions for you, if you will. How do you feel about the Phoenix Wright series of games? Have you ever played any of them? If not, do you think that the series would interest you? 2, do you prefer bow ties, or ascots, cravats, pyro socks? I've never really been interested that much in the Phoenix Wright series because they are basically visual novels, just, also Japanese court stories, and it's not a setting that interests me particularly. Like I acknowledge the quality of the work, like the qualities of the work I acknowledge, and I acknowledge that it's popular for a reason. Like they're pretty sure they're super good games, but I don't have any particular experience with them, and so if I would be interested in them, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's just that I'm not particularly interested in playing visual novels. I'd rather when I'm sitting down to play a video game, I want to actually be playing. I don't have anything wrong like against things that are story based and whatnot, but it's just not how I would rather spend my time, so to speak. This is American Pichu, he's angry. You know, if that makes sense, I think that makes sense. A little beanie on his head. Goes wee. It's very fashionable. Also, obviously, ascots. Question: if one day you get abducted by extraterrestrials from outside of Earth, as opposed to Earth extraterrestrials, and they turned out to be little wing girls who, after watching Earth for many years, thought you were the best suited being in the universe to explore a planet of felines after stumbling upon your Cat Planet video, they send you on this quest and you succeed before being beamed back to Earth, how much will your life have changed? Probably considerably, as I would have finally proof of life outside of Earth, and if I can bring some proof of this with me, well, I mean, that case, science as we know it will be forever changed, challenge, and it's not just my life that will be forever changed, it's life on Earth itself, in the world of science especially, is gonna be nothing at all the same. So that's, let's be honest here, Alex Shinoda Fortin, that is a situation with quite a lot of implications, both social, scientific, and, probably religious. That's something I've been always wondering about. Let's say that we can prove, without a doubt, that there is life in space other than on our own little stupid Earth. I'm wondering how each individual religious group would react to this. And I'm talking about irrefutable, completely impossible to say otherwise proof of life outside of the planet. How all the main religion kind of live with this? How do they accept this, in a sense? I'd be super serious to see it. It's just that I know it's kind of a super impossible thing to explore, because it's all gonna be theoretical, and it's kind of lame. Unless there is an alien that pops out tomorrow, then I guess we can see it for ourselves. But I mean, okay, let's call it improbable then. Still, nonetheless, that'd be kind of neat. When you entertain in the thoughts of a Talkhouse created a world for Super Meat Boy, would you be capable of surviving Saw Hell? Merci Fournier. I would entertain the thought, actually. Honestly, I think that Super Meat Boy is a super fun game to play. Just the act of playing itself is super good and really fun. And yeah, after I'm done with Super Meat Boy, I might not be against playing a sort of level pack Talkhouse mate. I think that could be pretty interesting. However, yeah, I would be kind of afraid of the results, because Talkhouse is crazy regarding hard things, so we would probably be on the painful end of things. But Talkhouse also has made insanely awesome things too, so you kind of try to take the good with the bad there, and I'm more curious than cautious, to be honest. So yeah, if something like that could be organized and is something that can be done with the game, I wouldn't be against it, at the very least, to at least entertain it for a little bit in the future. So, what kind of things do you actually buy that cost 1 USD? I was just musing about that, because that's the amount I donate per month, and the mental image of telling you, think of me as you buy this bag of milk, made me laugh. Also, do you have role models? Is there any particular person you'd like to be like? Or is there something more general you wish could be more like instead of what you are? Fariel. Well, yeah, you can't really buy anything with $1, but they do add up. It's the fact that there are, over several hundreds of y'all donating a small amount that adds up to being a livable with amount, so to speak. So, yeah, you can think of me as, oh, man, think of me as you pay a tiny portion of my rent, I guess. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? The most exciting thought. As for role models, that's always something I've always had problems, answering. I don't know if it's because I'm selfish or what, but I don't think I have an explicit role model. I just try to be a good person and do that at the best of my capacities, you know? Um, I always looked up to my dad because he always felt like this, like, sort of like perfect person. But I think that's true for a lot of people. Not particularly my dad in this case, but you know what I mean. Like parents and relatives that seem to be, successful and they seem to know and be able to do everything. I was like, oh man, I can't know nor do everything. What's up with that? Except that, at some point I started to be equal to him in terms of knowledge and then surpassed him in some things, and there we go. I just try to be the best person. But I wouldn't say I have particularly a role model, which might be a strange thing. I don't know. To me, it's never something I really thought of. Like, it's not a concern, I guess. It's a strange thing to answer and to be answered, and to Bob Marley, because that's not really a verb. That kind of helps. If you could pick 5 more DLC characters for Smash 4, who would they be, excluding your characters this time? And 2, will you consider adding old abandonware shareware to your to-do list if you start to run out, like Castle of the Winds or Microman? I really enjoyed the old LPs of Commander Keen. Fusion Warrior. Man, 5 characters? What's up with these huge amounts? Like, 5... Like, think about this, guys. I trying to make a video here that's of succinct length, then it's like, yeah, I think of 5 guys, go. It's like, 5, that's kind of a lot, and it's hard not to just parrot people. Like, I think it'd be cool to have someone from Final Fantasy 6, but I wouldn't be picky there. Someone there would be pretty cool. Otherwise, like that existing video game, like we got Mega Man already, so, yeah. It'd be cool to have, like, by the time this is being recorded, there are rumors that Ryu is, like, in the DLC programs or something. I don't know. I don't really understand. I think that's pretty rad, but it'd be nice to be someone other than Ryu, like Sakura or Ibuki. Those are cool people. Someone from Darkstalker would be awesome also. Have Phobos, big robot Mayan thing. That would be pretty rad. Someone from Samurai Showdown, like just basically name people from fighting games, but not even people, just a representative. It's just I know, like if I say Samurai Showdown, it would probably be Horomaru, which is probably the most boring guy there. So it's like, but it would still be cool to be represented, but like it'd be like whatever, because the choice is the most regular. See, that's kind of the problem. Like, yeah, it's gonna be Ryu probably, but he's the most boring guy in the cast, but it makes sense to him because he's the figurehead. But but at the same time, it's like, I'm gonna answer with this non-answer. It's pretty great. I would consider doing a bandware. Like, actually, for a time, I was wondering if it'd be possible to do Jetpack. That was my childhood computer game. Jetpack and Stunts. However, Stunts doesn't really have much level progression and whatnot, so it'd be kind of bad for a Let's Play. But I think that Jetpack would be good, and I think it's been officially abandonware did it too. It's just that it's so hard to play those old games without messing around with 500,000 things, so it makes it really inconvenient. But yeah, it's still kind of somewhere in my brain and the things that would be rad to do eventually. It's just that I've always had more pressing stuff to do. Horikawa Otani. That's not a question. Actually, I don't think you meant that as a question. You meant that as a response to when that other guy asked what you smelled like. So there's your answer. She smells like, Actual question. How would you describe the perfect stack of pancake? Please use as much detail as possible. Toppings, number of pancakes, quality of pancakes, etc. Egg. Well, big thick pancakes. Like the spongy kind. But kind of still, like, fairly wide. Like a foot wide. Well, but they're, like, circular. Now, perfect doesn't mean the most amounts, but like I'm talking about still like a bit like we want a stack. So like I don't know, man, 2 feet dripping with maple syrup. I think that would be pretty cool. It feels like there should be something. I know what would be good on top: a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Then you just kind of like let it melt a little bit, and then it's kind of like start to pour through the stack slowly and steadily. I don't know if the physics will let that happen, but that would be the ideal stack. Can you sing a short song about the joys of being a shoe? Cherno Tarara. Oh man, I'm a shoe, and that is a lot of joy. There you go. It's short. It's 2 lines. Doesn't even rhyme. It's so short. Would you ever be interested in doing an apartment tour style Patreon video? If there were interest or something like that, Alan Lalin. I trust you guys, but I don't think I'm at that amount yet. I know I've been a lot more open about my real life, but that's, I don't know, I feel like that's going a bit. I know that some people on Talkhouse know where I live and all that, so secrecy is kind of unwarranted, and that it is knowledge that is findable. But I'd still rather give myself the illusion of some form of anonymity here. I don't know, and it's the fact that I also have a roommate, and she wouldn't. I know for a fact she wouldn't be keen on the rest of the apartment being seen. So it's not something I'd be super into. Maybe I could make it an impossible Patreon target so that when I do get it, I'm like, dang it, now I'm stuck doing it forever. So, but that feels like cheating. Like it feels like extorting money. So it's not something I kind of super want to do. So why did I even propose it now? Because now some of y'all are gonna take that as fact. And I'm kind of stuck in this. Oh no! Oh no! Have you ever taken part in a march or protest for any cause? Rex Meridia. No! Due to me being an active, apolitical person. Kyle Cow. Can you canonize the marriage between Garish and Serac? It would be a good match. Serac's bio is a drunkard and party animal, and Garish is, well, communist. I can imagine them sitting back to back on a hillside, drinking their beer and vodka, relaxing under the blue sky. Sibby 19. I am not the one. Like, basically, canonity in demo and demo-related things is not something I declare. It's something that happens when it happens either in a thing that I officially write or a game with her. By the way, I'm just putting that out there. I've been told by Horikawa that some siblings are being used in levels, not like as playable characters, but like on the side and whatnot. I'm gonna say this right now. Anything that happens in Maggle X2 regarding any of the siblings is gonna be canon. That's just how it's gonna be. That's how it's always gonna be. So if you want that to make canon, make a level in A2XT where that is stated, or in Maggle X3 if that ever happens, or participate in Mafab or either like one of the 2 relay levels being done for the post game of Maggle X2, and contribute there and add that detail in, and whoops, suddenly it's canon. Canon is under your control. Demo and her extended family are not necessarily open source characters, but they're kind of at the edge of it. They're like borderline. The only reason why I put that restriction that it needs to be in one of the official games is that I want to avoid the deluge of OCs and whatnot. We just kind of like limit the fun, so to speak. Like, technically, the 4 Elder demons that I did are not technically yet canon until they get mentioned or something in a game. That's just how I see it working. So, yeah. Power's in your hand there, buddy. Ah, jeez, I got more than 2 pages of text. We're already only at 20. Oh, jeez, I need to hurry through this. Sorry if I seem to be hurrying through some of these. Oh, sorry. Sorry. If you could meet and talk to any variation of yourself from alternate universes, such as a female Rao, a god emperor Rao, a McDonald's drive-thru worker Rao, etc., who would you want to meet? Be kamikaze. God Emperor sounds pretty rad. I'm kind of going. I want to be curious to see how I would be if I like, they say power corrupts, absolutely. So would it be the case in my end? I always see myself as, not a perfect guy, but a guy that tries to kneel towards being a good dude. Will that hold true? That's actually a super good question. I want to see that guy. I know you want me to propose my own dude, but no, I want to meet that guy. Feeling rambunctious today, so here's a good question for you. In exactly 37 words, explain how tigers are or are not superior to centipedes when it comes to pumping orange juice into biomedical cyborg spaceships without accidentally rupturing their warp core matrix and causing antimatter explosion, destroying the tiger and or centipede along with a section of the universe where they are located. Pangu Penguinson. I don't like the question because it sets a bad precedent, but just let me do a bit of math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. See, that's what I thought. Your question has more than 37 words, so I cannot, what you're asking is physically impossible, as it is impossible for me to describe a sentence that requires more words than what the question asks for. So if you could revise it, I will be happy to give it a look-see. Have you studied a language other than French or English? Adam C. No! The very, very tiny amount of Japanese and German that I know is strictly through absorption. And even then, I don't really know English that much, but I never actually studied. I never really studied English, really. It's just because I've always lived in English neighborhoods and whatnot. Best way to learn a language. Here's my question. If you made enough money through Patreon that you had too much money, what would you do with it? You can pick anywhere from charity events, just tossing it on a big bonfire to keep the snowflakes warm during spring. It's a fire crook. It's possible to have too much money. Okay, assuming that I literally become, a bajillionaire. Well, yeah, there would be, of course. At some point, you need to put in down charity and stuff. But, because right now I tend to be very frugal with my spending, but that's just because I'm saving for in case something happens. But if we come to the part where something cannot possibly happen that I need to use all the money I have saved, then yeah. I always look into, I'm always kind of careful around charities because I want to make sure the money actually gets where it's supposed to. So I wouldn't be able to give you an answer where or how right now because I haven't done that research sufficiently for me to have a given answer. But it would happen. Assuming I have unlimited money, although if I could participate in terms of money in furthering space research, I think that might be kind of like my pet cause. Kind of sad about the state of where this has fallen compared to how it used to be. Space is cool. That's all I need as a reason, I think. If you were to go out fighting crime with your time-related superpowers, what would you be called, and what would your costume look like? Also, what's the name of your consequence-defying castle mech? Also, you're welcome, Micofire. I would call myself Captain Alligator, so that when my super, evil criminal guy comes to find me, he'll be completely unexpected of my time-related powers. He's gonna expect me to be able to swim around the water and bite real hard, and then I'll be all like, "Ha! Well, how about that time chomp?" and go time chomp, which I don't even know what that means, but that's what happens, and he ends up in jail. And the castle's name is Saturnus Alpha 3. But also, the 3's for Mystique, because it's like, are there 2 other ones? Well, no! Or maybe there was, but those timelines were erased. I don't know. I'm not too aware of the canon there. I need to study up on this for further elaboration. 1. Did you know that during an early hiatus, Proton John recommended all of his fan base Gonna start over. Did you know that during an early hiatus, Proton John recommended all of his fan base go and watch your videos, saying, go watch a better Let's Player. Link to you. 2. Do you think you could owe some of your current lasting viewership to Proton John shoveling so many people into you during the height of the Kaizo popularity? Louisiana, man. Yes and yes. Although what I've been doing has always been very different than what Proton John is doing. I mean, let's be honest here. He was by far and still is the populist choice due to being the one that really put down on YouTube. Like, he's the one that started the popularity of Kaizo, the Mario. Well, I always went in the other direction as ROM hacks, towards showing that ROM hacks can be, games, and not just destroy your face game, and it kind of went in circles like that. But so, like, of course, not everyone was directed to me sticking with me, because I'm not Proton John. That always happens. Whenever you recommend someone, not everyone's gonna stick, because that someone is not doing the exact same thing. But, totally. Yeah, totally. Question time. Are you now the leader of a space brigade? Okay, you are now the leader of a space brigade. What is your X that will pierce the Y, and who is it to save? David Ludovac. What? I mean, you're making a drill pierce the heaven joke, but, I mean, how can I beat that? Anything that I say is just gonna be this weirdo butt knockoff. No, now the more I read the question, the less it makes sense. What is my X that will pierce the Y? So what? So what's my drill that will pierce the Y? What? Saturnus Alpha 3? An experience with the Latin language? No. Do you know anything about Old French, Ancien Français? Could you try and read an excerpt from it? Philby Pot. No, I don't know anything about that, unfortunately. Also, I haven't been drawing anything for a while. I apologize for that. But no. No. I never studied Old French. Like, with English class up to high school level is still mostly grammar stuff, because our grammar is so complicated. And, how to write letters and, papers and whatnot. So we don't really study Old French. Afterwards, Alain Lalin gave 2 examples of Old French text. I can try just kind of reading them as it would be in normal French, but I don't know if any pronunciation is supposed to change or anything. But, I mean, here we go. La chanson de Roland. Mur ne citait ni Hérome à freindre, Fort Saragus qui est en une mutaigne, L'iris Marsili la tient, qui deux n'en aime, Mahumet sert à Apollin réclame, n'est pas gardé que mêle ne l'y atteigne, ah oui. And here's another one. Serment de Strasbourg, vise sagrement que son fendre Carlo, jura conserva et Carlus meo sandra, dessus au port non l'ostani, si je retournar non, l'impoine jaune nul cuit y retournar, impois ni nulla aida contre le du vig ne liève. I don't even know what that says. I can kind of recognize some verbs, but man. Oh my gosh, you like Phyllis too. Rock on. Okay, for a question, S under parentheses. Have you ever played any live sim games like Animal Crossing, Sims, etc.? And if so, what did you think of them? If not, do you think it's a genre you'd ever consider trying? On another note, what is the most expensive thing you have ever purchased? The lovely penguin. Of sim games, I only played the first Sim City on the computer. I mean, I think y'all know by now that I like goal-oriented games. So open games, they're amusing as a curiosity, but it's not really something I go out of my way to play. That's just not how I'm rigged, alas. And the most expensive thing I ever purchased was my car. While I was in training for my job, I realized that going by bus is not realistic considering where I lived. So I got myself. No, I bought basically my. Well, the plan was that I'd buy a used car, but then it turns out that my legs didn't fit well in them, so I bought that used car, and then I traded with my dad so that I'm using his old used car and he uses that. That's kind of how it goes, and I'm pretty happy with the exchange, and it's pretty rad. This is my story. It's pretty dumb. Shovel Knight is pretty good, and I'm curious about that unreleased game. Anyway, question time. Did you play any game for the MS-DOS era? I know you'd LP'd Commander Keen. It's on the LP archive, so anything else? Jetpack, Stunts, Sims, the City. There's other games. Robinson Requiem. That's a game I enjoyed with my father quite a lot. Anything else? Like, there's been other games here and there, too. I just don't really remember them very much. It was more of a, console. It's just that sometimes, I'd also play things on the computer. And it was those games. I wasn't much of, adventure games and whatnot. That really never really interested me. So, yeah. And that was from Zipto, who copied a question from something else. Nah, that's not true. He didn't copy. Yay, we're down to half a page. Left. Oh, okay. What is the latest Quebec fashion for men and women? How much of a mega hottie are you on a scale of on fire to supernova? What is the latest Quebec fashion trend both for men and women? Horikawa Otani. Pretty sure that our fashion is pretty much the same as the U.S. We're not exactly like forefounders of super fashion vanilla, I don't think. Or if so, it's a domain I know so much not. That's kind of been my assumption. I could look that up on the internet, but you can look that up on the internet too if you really need to know. It's wearing casseroles as scarves. That's all we do. The rest is completely bare. And as for the mega hottie scale, I am obviously a fire ant. Hey, you used the Vocaloid song on your Mangle X level, right? Was that just a coincidence, or are you a Vocaloid fan? If so, which are some of your favorite songs and general recommendations, Fario? So basically, I'm a fan of weirdo, super hard, mega hard, I Want to Be the Guy fan games. And if you spend any time watching videos of super hard Japanese one, you will get levels that are synced to Vocaloid songs, and that is how I learn a lot more about Vocaloids than I ever cared to. There's a song here and there that I actually did discover through that, and I enjoy to this day, but all the names are weird and I don't remember any of them, so I apologize for that, but that's my Vocaloid story. And why I know there's way more than just Miku, Hatsune, Miku, Pizza. There's a lot more out there, and it's all really scary. But yeah, sorry, I don't really have much in terms of recommendation. I need to, scour through things, and this has been lasting long enough that I don't need to waste time scouring through things. I'm sorry! Much to my chagrin, I am turning 30 later this month. How did turning 30 go for you, Anna Henley? It went pretty alright, but I kind of stopped paying attention to my age at around 25. After you're past 21, you're pretty much free to do whatever you want all over North America, I think. So, like, it stops kind of like being a thing. And between the mid-20s up until the 40s, you're still considered quote-unquote young. I realized over time, so it's like, whatever. You still got a lot of time to be feeling good about it. I just don't even think about it. So, you know what? How did turning 30 go for you? It was such a non-event that I don't got anything to say there. So, are you on Team Billy or Team Lime? Philby Pot. I'm a lot more. The thing is I'm a lot more aware of Team Billy than Lime, because Lime I only saw in that one video where they were talking about 90s sitcoms. So, no, 80s more than 90s actually. So I can't really answer that due to lack of information, because I don't want to put my political support on a team that may not represent the entirety of my interests, you know? Just gotta be careful. Will you be my friend? Of course not. I just watched the recent Owen Citizen video on the Avengers, and just amazingly well timed after the question I asked last time. So, Raocow, if you could have any superpower, how would you use it? Fariel. That's a good question, honestly. And I did think about the question back when I watched that video earlier this week. I don't know how I would be using it, you know? But just, you want to do the right, you know? But I do not have the time here to do the amount of research that Kyle did to give as eloquent an answer that, you know? So, like, it's just gonna be... That's all you're gonna get from my mouth, or the slightly more worded equivalent. But, you know, it's just, to reiterate something I said earlier, I just kind of, like, trying to do my best, so as a citizen, you know, of this society that I live within. And I guess how I would use my power would similar. Like, I don't think I would be like literally a super hero, because I don't want, like, it's not my. I don't want to be a vigilante, and so I don't know. I think I try to not be noticed as much as possible. I'd still, like, I would probably be led, maybe try and help doing certain things if I could. But I'm not sure how I would define that. But, like, I wouldn't be having a superhero career, so to speak. I don't think so. But it's such an impossible situation that I can't really give you an answer. 3 questions. What's your take on some of the Quebecois LP goons, particularly Psychedelic Eyeball and Ragni? I recall a former doing a Chipmunk video in tribute to you. In reference to your swearing bit, there was this one swear that sounded like shiz fella. I'm guessing chis fellow. What? Kish fella. Okay, yeah. They used to say a lot a couple of years back. What was it you were saying, and what does it mean? Answer. Oh yeah, that was answered by Faro. And can you understand Joel, that guy? If. Okay, so Psychedelic Eyeball, I do know, and I think he's a pretty cool dude who does really good and really well researched videos. I don't know anything about Ragni, though. I think I kind of like left something awful before he started, so I don't have much of an opinion. Sorry about that. Yeah, Qu'est-ce fais là is really, it's basically Qu'est-ce que je fais là, but kind of like smashed together in good old Quebecois. And yeah, it basically means, what am I doing? Such as sometimes in English, I'll say, what am I doing here? It's the exact same, except I'm in English, the French. Yes, language, it's hard. Joie, it depends. Like, if you mean, like, Acadien level of joie, it gets hard to understand, but I can make do. Like, it's not that bad. It's doable. So, I do understand it, I guess. Sometimes it takes a bit more, you know, just kind of like leaning in and paying attention. But yeah. 3 questions. That's the last 3, though. Please limit your questions to 1. Would you take a pill that would grant you eternal life? Let's just assume you would stay more or less as healthy as you are now. To be honest, just to answer that right now, extend my life up until a point, yeah. But I'm sure that at some point I would stop dreading death and would welcome it. And so if I can kind of like decide when eternal life ends, sure. Like, I don't want to survive until the heat death of the universe if I can help it. Do you play poker? If someone gave you a ticket to play in a big tournament, would you do it? No, because no, I don't really play poker. I kind of know the rules. That's about it. And you don't go in a big tournament if you just kind of know the rules. And if you could have a private discussion with whoever you want, who would you choose? Choose. Why 5-person? You can travel space and came in this. No, I don't want to speak. Private, I don't know, man. Assuming that this gets, like, automatically translated through magic so that we can just discuss normally. And private discussion, I guess, can be about... God Emperor Cow, that's one. Cheating, but that's one. Man, I don't know. I'm curious about the world. Okay, you know what? Instead of answering your question literally, I'm going to give you an insight of how my brain face works. I'm a very live and let live type of person. I assume that everyone kind of like does their best thing they can think of to the best of their knowledge and abilities. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but, still, I assume that, there's no real evil in the world, just ignorance. So, like, a lot of people out there who did a lot of good and did a lot of bad, like, I guess I'm not too concerned about their thought process, because for most part, for most people, it's like I don't know what I would be talking about. Like, maybe this is me being an asocial person in general, but there's not really a lot of people out there that I'm actually curious about to actually talk about. Like if we're talking about a scientific person, I don't know nearly enough about science to have any kind of intelligent discussion. Same thing about most arts, same thing about most of anything. So any, like, genius or figurehead of any sort of art movement, whether it be music, it'd be writing, it'd be film, it'd be philosophy, it'd be science, politics, I cannot have a discussion with those people because I would not be able to speak on their level, so the opportunity would be completely wasted. So I don't know with whom I would have, throughout space and time, I can have a conversation with that would actually make sense. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's at the level which I interpret the question. And it's like, yeah, okay. Like, one of the things that came in my mind was like, you know what? I like to speak to, I like to, by reflex, I like to speak with, like, Tesla or Gandhi or whatever, but the discussion will lead nowhere. Because they operate on a level in their field that is far beyond anything that I would ever be able to understand. And that's even including the fact that I live in the freaking 21st century. That doesn't change anything. So, and I'd rather not waste their space-time with mine. Because they got far more important things to do. And I don't want to be a bother. Fart!